My dear Lana, how are you? How do you do? I'm your online teacher, Teacher Paul Kuria. I warmly welcome you to our social studies lesson, whereby we shall look at the climatic regions in Eastern Africa. Climatic region in Eastern Africa. Welcome. Now, we shall start by defining the word climate. Climate. Now, as you can see on your screen, climate is the average weather condition of a given place for a long period of time, between 30 to 35 or even 40 years. Let me take you back. Do you remember when you are in the lower grades, when you used to draw a table and you would record the weather condition of the day in the morning, in the midday, and the afternoon? Like you would say, the weather today is rainy. The weather today is sunny. Now, I want you to imagine if you would have continued with that recording of the daily weather condition of your school or your home place for 1 week, for 1 month, for 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, oh, until 30 to 35 years. And then you do the average of the weather condition. Then that's when you would be able to define or to state the climate of that particular area. Now, what's a climatic region? A climatic region, it refers to a continuous geographical area that has got similar climatic characteristics. So areas with similar climatic characteristics or conditions are grouped together to form a climatic region. Now, on your screen, I'm showing you climatic regions in Eastern Africa with what we call equatorial climates, with mountain climate, with desert climate, with modified equatorial climatic region, with subtropical climatic region, and we've got the tropical climatic region. So these are the climatic regions that we have in Eastern Africa. So we now want to go and look at each of these climatic regions one by one, and we find out what are their characteristics. Before we go to the climatic regions, let's ask ourselves, what are some of the factors that influence climate of Eastern Africa? There are several of them. One is the altitude. Altitude, it's the height above sea level. The second factor that influences the climate of Eastern Africa is the distance from large water bodies. The third one, these are the prevailing winds. The other one is the shape of the coastline and the relief, the appearance of the earth surface. Good. On your screen, I'm displaying a map showing different climatic regions in Eastern Africa. You can see the mountain climatic region, the desert climatic region, the semi-desert, tropical, subtropical, modified equatorial, and the equatorial climatic region. So, with your permission, allow us now to dig deeper into these climatic regions one by one. Let's move on together. We shall start with what we refer to as modified equatorial climatic region, modified equatorial climate. Now, These are the characteristics of modified equatorial climate. One, it experiences warm and wet conditions most of the year. Warm and wet conditions most of the year. Then temperatures are modified by the altitude. Altitude, I've told you before, is the height above sea level. In modified equatorial climatic region, rainfall ranges from 1,200 millimeters to 1,800 millimeters per year. And then the temperatures, they range from 21 degrees centigrade in the highlands to 28 degrees centigrade along the coast and the Lake Victoria basin. So that's modified equatorial climatic region in Eastern Africa. The second climatic region is the desert climate. These are the characteristics of the desert climate of Eastern Africa. One, hot and dry in most months of the year. Then we've prolonged drought with cloudless skies throughout the year. Then the rainfall is less than 250 millimeters per year. In Eastern Africa, the parts of northern parts of Sudan, Eritrea, and the Ogaden region are the main areas where the desert climatic region is experienced in Eastern Africa. We move to the semi-arid climate. Now, semi-arid climate has these characteristics. One, long dry season, high temperature, rainfall ranges between 250 millimeters to 680 millimeters per year. So the rainfall ranges between 250 millimeters to 680 millimeters per year. Now, we soldier on. We look at what we refer to as the tropical or the savanna climate. Now, key to note that in Eastern Africa, the largest part is covered by the tropical, also referred to as the savanna climatic region. The tropical or the savanna climatic region has distinct dry season and distinct rainy season. Rainfall is experienced when the sun is overhead the equator. So allow me to repeat on this, that the tropical or the savanna covers the largest part of Eastern Africa. And we've said that the other characteristic of the tropical or the savanna climatic region is that it has distinct dry season and distinct rainy season. In addition to that, rainfall is experienced when the sun is overhead the equator. So this makes it warm and wet. And then the dry season is hot and dry in some areas. The dry season is hot and dry in some areas. Something else key to note is that other areas experience a cool and dry season, while the rainy season is warm and wet. Allow me to repeat that other areas do experience a cool and dry season, while the rainy season is warm and wet. So that's the tropical or the savanna climatic region. Next, with mountain climate or mountain climatic region. Mountain climate or mountain climatic region, it's experienced around high mountains of Eastern Africa. If you can remember, sometimes back, we learned about the physical features. And one of the physical features we looked at were the mountains. Now, the high mountains of Eastern Africa, they include Mount Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Rwenzori, Aberdare Ranges, the Mount Elgon, Mau Ranges, and the Ethiopian highlands. So these are the areas or the regions where the mountain climatic region is experienced in Eastern Africa. The climate of this mountain region is greatly influenced by altitude. Remember, I've told you altitude is the height above sea level. On the windward side, relief rainfall is experienced. Mountains that rise above 5,000 meters above sea level. These include Mount Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro, and Mount Rwenzori are snow-capped. They are snow-capped mountains, meaning that on top of these mountains that rise above 5,000 meters above sea level, there is snow on top. On your screen, I'm showing you a map that is showing clearly the climatic regions of Eastern Africa. Can you see the desert climatic region? Super. What about the mountain climatic region? Yes. If you look at the mountain, it's on the areas where we've said that we've found mountains in Eastern Africa, around the Ethiopian highlands, where we've Mount Elgon, central part of Kenya, where we've what? Mount Kenya and the Aberdares, etc. Then we've modified equatorial climatic region. Have a look at it. The one that's being shown by color green. Then with tropical savanna. Remember, we said that tropical savanna covers the largest part of Eastern Africa. And lastly, with the semi-arid climatic region. My dear learner and my dear viewer, my dear listener, I've been happy to take you through as we've been learning about the climatic regions in Eastern Africa. I urge you, never stop learning. Never stop learning. I've been your online teacher, Teacher Paul Kuria. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye.